back to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. First of all, I just want to say, you know how much I love a great about you or a great bio, right? I just love it when an About You page truly expresses the essence of who a person is and how they come across in real life. Because the thing is that what happens to me when I read a well-written About You page is it gets me very interested. When I'm reading it and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I want to know this person. That's an A+, right? I'll love that. But then the second thing I really love is if I've had the chance to meet that person. So with the podcast, right? You know, I'm reading the About You pages all the time. And what happens is very often from the time I've originally read when somebody has asked to come on the show or whatever it is, and I read their bio or their About You, and I think, oh, wow, sometimes I'm really super impressed, right? Great. Then it could be 2 or 3, 4 months until I interview them, and then it could be another 2 or 3 or 4 months until I sit down and I write the intro, outro for the show. So it's like this big, long arc, right? So going back to when I first read the bio or the About You, if it really impresses me, right, I'm immediately saying, I want to meet this person. But then the second thing I love is after I've met you, I've had the conversation to speak with the particular guest, and I do go back months later and I reread the bio or the About You page, and I think to myself, whoa, this really is this person. This is not promo, right? And that happened with today's guest, Nicole McGuire. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save her bio and read it to you after the show. Let's see if you agree with what might have just sounded like a super impressive piece, possibly written by her mom, because that's how impressive her intro, her bio is. But let's see if you think, yes, that is who she is, right? So for now, I'm just going to tell you that Nicole McGuire grew up in the construction industry. And since then, she's taken over and expanded her father's home building and renovation business. And now the McGuire businesses include Nicole McGuire Design Studio, McGuire Homes, McGuire Development Group, and McGuire Home Collection. Yes, you know it already, even before you hear the conversation that she's going to get a hashtag smart lady from me. I know it. I know, right? And another thing before we get to the show, I want to say thank you to My Doma Studio, okay? During the conversation with Nicole, one thing you'll hear her say is how important communication is for her between her clients, her design team, her build team. What she does is she has it all done in a builder software management program, right? But My Doma Studio handles this easily for you. And right in your client portal, you can have your clients log in, they can approve selections, drawings, you can send messages, they can send payments. It's really all right there for you. Another feature with My Doma Studio is time tracking. You can track time by team members per project with billable and non-billable time. All the time entries go to invoices for payment, right? So to learn more about My Doma Studio, please go to mydomastudio.com/a well-designed business. That's MYDOMA studio.com/a well-designed business. And you can get started with your trial today. All right. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to Nicole McGuire. Hi, Nicole. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hi, LuAnn. Thank you so much for having me.
I am Nicole. let me tell you what, you know me. I read about people before they come on the show, and I was exhausted just reading about your businesses. Unbelievable. And since then, learned that you're a mother of 3 teenagers, 13, 15, and 17. And I'm just like, whoa. I think I'm busy. I don't think I can ever say that again. Every time I think to myself in the future, I'm busy, I think your face is going to come to my mind, and I'm going to be like, shut up, LuAnn.
Yes, it will just be burned in your mind.
Exactly. So, Nicole, do us a favor. You'll do it much better justice than I will. Tell us about the different companies that you own, the roles, the products, services that they offer, your role in them, and then from there, that'll give us a little perspective so I can start to dig in and you can start to share all your secret sauce with us, okay?
Okay, great. Well, I have McGuire Homes, which that's the foundation of all of our businesses, is a custom home building company. And it has been that for over 40 years. I'm actually 4th generation in that industry, but my passion is in design, and my passion is to bring women into the industry, bring women into the construction leadership roles. So I started Nicole McGuire Design Studio. And those aren't the only 2 reasons that I started the design studio. It was really for another revenue stream as well. But that gives me an opportunity to sell all of the products, the finished materials that go into a new construction home or a remodel back to ourselves. That includes cabinetry, flooring, lighting, and now the furniture.
Wow. Okay. And then you also have McGuire Development Group, don't you?
Yes, I do. And McGuire Development Group is a company that holds homes. So homes that we have constructed that we lease, they're higher end leases, and we lease them to professionals. We can lease a home that is unfurnished. We can lease a home that is furnished, and then a full executive rental as well. So we have plates in the cabinets, sheets on the beds, and ready to go. So our community is a very transient community. People come in, they maybe only want to stay for 2 years, 3 years, don't want to commit to buying, but they want a nice place to live that they would otherwise build or purchase a home. So we provide that for them.
It's so crazy because I have 10 questions there, and I'm like, LuAnn, that's the least avenue that's going to support the interior designers listening. So stop. Like, it's the least likely thing that they're going to do, which is go build, 10 homes and own them forever and lease them. And I'm like, but I'm saying to myself, right, man, I want to know about that.
Well, hey, it's another revenue stream, right? It's an investment that any designer can make building that home. Somebody else is paying down the mortgage, and in 20 years, when you go to sell it, you have a great, you don't invest anything during that time other than your time and your expertise. And then at the end, there's cash.
Okay. All right. So now we will go there. Just a few moments. Thank you for permission. So the thing is, though, I mean, see, what happens to me is when I hear of something like that, right off the bat, excited about the opportunity. Just like you said, you build a home, you get to design it, you get to do all these things, you get to try out things that maybe a client wouldn't try. And then someone else, because you're leasing it, is basically covering the expenses to own that home. I get all that. But then my brain goes to, it's not as simple as that, though, LuAnn, because you know what? Somebody has to manage that, and somebody has to see, if somebody says the water heater's broken, like, do you have a separate team that oversees the property maintenance and the, that whole part of it? That's not like a phone it in type of a job.
It's not, but we manage all of our own properties with the McGuire Development Group, and we have agreements with most of our subcontractors. Currently, all of our homes are 7 years or younger. At this point, we have very few issues. I understand that between the 7 and 14 year mark, we might just see more issues coming up, and I just need to evaluate, okay, is this worth it anymore? Is this the point when I sell, or do I do another remodel and keep it going for another 10 years through the payoff? I don't have that answer yet because I haven't made it that far. But right now, we manage everything and haven't had any issues.
Interesting. That's such a smart answer. I love it. Okay. And basically what you're saying is it's a new home, so the problems are fewer and far
Minimal.
Between, right?
Yes.
And you have the whole team and that can, like the contractors that are involved, you have your warranties and you call them up and you say, hey, the water heater's acting funny, but you absolutely absolutely already have the clarity, knowing that at the 7 to 10 year mark, you might rethink it. You might sell the home, right? Somebody could buy it and live in it and take it off your hands, or
Yes.
you could renovate it yourself and basically make everything new again, new appliances,
Exactly.
new everything. And wow. Whoa, love it. Okay. And I guess the other part of it is your area has a need for this. So you have multiple. How many did you say you have?
We have 9 right now, and we're getting ready to build 5 more. But it's a trend that's going on across the country. In fact, 5 years ago, I wrote a white paper on renting the American dream and thinking about built for rent single family housing, and really starting with that in mind, because across the country, if you look at after 2008, some people just don't want to make that investment in their home. They'd rather keep their cash in their pockets or in the bank and have access to it, pay a little bit higher rent or pay more monthly than they normally would, but they're still holding on to a big chunk of cash. Also, I thought when I wrote the paper that it was going to be millennials specifically that wanted to be more transient, and that is not what I'm finding. Again, I only have 9, so it's not like I have 100 properties where I can say, this is definitely the population that's leasing from us, but we have families with 3 children, 4 children. We have retired couples. We have business professionals. We have everybody across the board.
Interesting. Okay. And so, wow, my brain is exploding on that. It really is. I'm just like, you talk about a revenue stream. Like most of us are like, well, maybe I should knit on the side. You're like, well, build 9 or 10 houses on the side.
Yeah, it's a huge risk. I mean,
yes,
it's a huge investment up front, and I can't say that there's a ton of cash that comes in on a monthly basis on that company, because most of what comes in goes right back out for property taxes, paying the mortgage. But again, somebody else is covering that, and then fingers crossed. I haven't made it that far, but when it's paid off, I can sell those properties. And as a small business owner, we don't always have the opportunity to make wise investments. So it's not like I have a 401k with a company. This is my retirement. Mm-hmm. So why not build something? This is my expertise. Right. This is my investment in my future.
Interesting. I love it. And just one last question on that. If this is intriguing to somebody listening, how do you have any advice on how they would figure out if their geographical area has a need for this? Do you go to the real estate board? Do you go to friends in the real estate industry? Where would you say that, like, you knew it sounds like, because you're so closely aligned with the building industry? I don't know. How did you know that there was a need for it in your area?
I knew it because I knew a lot of business owners. So I have to say, when I went to the realtors, of course, if they sell a $500,000 home, they are going to make greater commission than if they lease that home, or if that client comes to me and leases. So I can't say that that's the best place to go, but they are going to have contacts. And I pay them a commission on the lease. It's not the same as a sale, but knowing the business owners, so we have a large hospital in our community. And when I talk with their recruiting team, one of the pain points when they're recruiting and trying to get top talent into our community is we don't have housing that they want, or maybe that their spouse wants. It's not a community they want to live in. So they have told me that over 60% of the physicians that are coming in want to lease so they can get to know our community and see if it's a place they want to stay. And it's not just the physicians. Our university is here. We have a research park that has many international companies. I got to know the business owners, or at least the leaders in those companies, to understand, again, the pain points that they were feeling when recruiting key talent to our community.
So brilliant. I love it, because as soon as you said that, I can picture that. Here you are, a couple, one of them has an opportunity for a position or whatever it is in a brand new place. And what happens? The two of them fly in. The company that's courting them takes them to lunch, takes them to dinner, spends a day driving around. And when you get back to the hotel, the other one looks and says, I can't live here. I don't want to live this place. This is great, but you're killing me. You know what I mean?
Right. So, and we're in Central Illinois. I can't do anything to change our landscape. I can't do anything to change our weather. When we're competing with other communities that are absolutely beautiful. But this is an investment I'm making in our community to help not only myself, but all the other businesses thrive as well.
Very interesting. I love it. So exciting. Okay. Now let's turn to the design business, which everybody is tuned in for. Okay. But you know what I love in it's always the thread of the business thinking, the logic in the business thinking. And so that applies no matter what thing that we're, initiative that we're planning to do, to think about and to research it and to understand if there's a need, and the absolute clarity of finding out from the potential client what their number 1 and 2 and 3 pain points are. And for you to go to these other companies and say, what's the big obstacle? And the big obstacle is, homes that reflect the lifestyle that they were either coming from or they aspire to with a move like this, right? So
yes.
Well done on your part. Good job.
That is a beautiful summary, LuAnn. Beautiful summary.
Okay. So now let's move into the Nicole. Okay, so we have McGuire Homes. So the way that your business works is a potential consumer comes to you. Usually, I'm making assumptions. You'll correct me if I'm off base. Usually to McGuire Homes. However they get to you, we're going to talk about that, how you do your business development. But they come to you because they said, "Hey, interested in either building or renovating building a new or renovating my existing." And it starts there, and then you will feed them through Nicole McGuire Design Studio. And am I on the right track there?
You are. Yes, that's exactly how it works.
Okay. So talk to us about how do you market to get clients to find McGuire Homes to begin with, Nicole? What are your initiatives there?
Well, and that's a great question, and I will answer how we have done it in the past. And we recently really messed that up, and we're in the course of a correction. And so I want to bring that up because we all get off track once in a while. And in the past, we just really focused on the new construction and remodels. And that's it. And we have a great reputation in our community to design and build a home. But then in 2019, we added in the furnish portion. So design, build, furnish. And we lost focus, and we started heavily marketing the furnishings that we had available. And the new construction calls started to slow down. The remodel calls started to slow down, and we lost sight of the foundation of our company because we got so excited about the new flashy pieces of furniture coming in, and we just couldn't wait to share it with everybody. So, that one piece of advice that I can give is stay focused on your core business and then add in layers that support that business. And that was our intention all along. We just didn't do a good job telling our story. So we are now, build it or design it, construct it, and then fill it. And that's a message that now we're working early 2020 to retell to the community and make sure that we let everybody know we are still building new construction homes. We are still doing these remodels. Even if you want a kitchen remodel and don't want any furnishings, we provide that.
Wow. Okay. So I love it. I mean, this speaks right to my everything that I love. You have to always keep yourself on your core mission and what the core mission of your company is, because I've told everybody the story about how we do window treatments, and a gabillion years ago, 8 years in business, I thought, we should have accessories in our showroom. We should have pillows and blankets and candles and all this crap, right? And my husband's like, "No, LuAnn, we sell window treatments, And I'm like, "No, yeah, but we could sell this too." And he's like, "We don't have walk-in traffic real." I'm like, "Yeah, but we have a beautiful showroom and we'll do this." And the thing is, it was a bust. I mean, I went to the gift show in New York, spent a couple grand, had all this stuff, and 2 years later, we're selling it in a garage sale for 10 cents on on the thousands. It was just crazy because there were a couple of flaws in that. It sounds like you experienced it. If we had done it and then told people about it within the story of our core business, right? Like, so, but I just expected it to happen. And so yours was the opposite. You did it and you literally told everybody about it, but you didn't weave it into your core story. And so then people started to forget you for building and started to think of you for furnishings. And that's not where the bills are paid, right?
Right. And our niche market is this design, build, furnish. There aren't any other builders in our community or anywhere surrounding us doing that. That is a niche. So think about your clients that come to you. When they show you something they want for window furnishings, they're probably showing you a picture from Pinterest or Houzz or another a television show on HGTV. They have the end in mind. So that's what we didn't do. We didn't do a good job saying, hey, we see you bringing this picture and you have the expectation to have these beautiful furnishings and accessories and art on the wall, but then we work backwards and how do we construct the space to put that furniture in?
Okay. Let me ask you a question on a little off topic. Will you take just a furnishing design project, or you will only do it for the clients that you have done the build or the reno for?
We will absolutely sell furnishings. In fact, we have an e-commerce site that we did launch on Black Friday of 2019. And if I'm being honest, it was a bust. It was a C-, D+ job that we launched it, but we set that goal, we set a time frame, and we launched it. And now we can take a little step back and sculpt it and perfect it how we want it. But yes, we sell furnishings to many people in our community. In fact, we cycled through 3 warehouses of furniture before we even launched our e-commerce site because we wanted to bring in the products, touch them, feel them, make sure they met our standards for quality and duration. So we're still correcting that. Like I said, I haven't figured everything out, but the one thing that I can say, the one thing I can say is take that step and implement, because you don't know how it's going to go until you implement. You didn't know that you weren't going to sell pillows and other accessories until you tried it. And bringing it in again, you might find you have more success because you know how to change that messaging.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And when you say that when I asked if you would do a design and project that only includes furnishings, your answer was yes, we have it for sale on our e-commerce site. Okay, but will you, like somebody says, hey, this is my existing master bedroom and I want to, redo it. Are you like, sorry, not what we do? Or do you do that to do the design and then sell it at that, one-on-one luxury level to that client? Or
yes,
is it
we absolutely do that too.
Okay, so you do that too. So it's not like if you want furniture from us and we're not building, you can just go on the website and buy it. You do the design for that as well.
Yes, we do.
And but it's not your focus and not your sweet spot.
No, it's not. But I have to say it's a fantastic revenue stream for us because more people are likely to, let's say, spend $15,000 on furnishings versus $100,000 on a whole remodel. Mm-hmm. So we have more of those clients coming through our door.
Okay. And do you find, I don't know if there is an answer to this, is there a trend one way or the other in your business, Nicole? Do you find that when you accept people for, hi, hand up, I'd love for you to redesign my master bedroom, there's no construction involved, that they ultimately have potential to become the full reno project or the new build? Or is it the other way, that you have more, of the builds and the renos and you've done the whole thing for them and now 6 or 7 years they're like, hey, let's just freshen this up? Is there a trend more one way or another? Is one more lead gen than the other?
The remodels generate more leads.
Okay.
And then we finish them out. Yes. But I have to say, 99% of our clients share our information and have us come back. So even clients that we did work for in 2019 or even late 2018, we are back in there either doing another renovation or another room of furnishings.
Okay. Makes sense. Total makes sense. Okay. So talk to us a little bit about whether it's for the design only client or it's the build client or reno client. Talk to us. How do you market to them? What is your philosophy on attracting and filling your pipeline, Nicole?
Well, we have multiple streams to do that. And we, of course, use social media. And we create videos on a regular basis to show what we're doing, again, to show that we're approachable, creating that feeling in a space. A lot of our videos we want to have in a family room or a master bedroom that we have furnished. And so they can feel what that's going to feel like if it were in their home. That captures an emotion from them. They want to be a part of us. Again, they feel like they can approach us. Makes us more personable. We also have a spot on the local TV stations to capture a completely different audience. So we reach more people, and it's a different demographic than our social media profile. And again, it gives me an opportunity to be a subject matter expert in design or construction and show them that we are here, we're real, we're in the community, and we would love your business. And always going back to that and asking for the business, not being afraid to ask for it.
And so talk to us a little bit about when you do the videos. These videos are done in-house. Are you at the point where you're hiring a professional video team, or are you like, hey, we started doing it with our iPhone and a $20 tripod from Amazon? Tell us a little bit about that.
We started doing it with our phone and the $20 tripod, and we have brought in professional videographers, professional photographers, and captured lifestyle videos and photos. But we're back to the roots. We're back to just using our phone because, again, people want to see raw footage. They want to know that we're real and relatable. I feel like when we put out the message that when we do a professional presentation with a video, it almost makes us feel untouchable to some clients.
And so what is the strategy? Are you doing live Instagram every day talking about behind the scenes, or is it, I was just going to say, is it a casual approach? Haha, that's so funny. I already know it's not. Okay. Like, what's the strategy behind it, Nicole? Do you sit down with your team and you're like, okay, let's plan out the content for a week or a month? Like you over here, you're going to go live on Tuesday, you're going to make a video and put it in stories on Wednesday, you're going to put it in tell us about that strategy.
Yes, we have 12 months planned out because our franchise brand, which is called Around the House with Nicole McGuire, on the TV station requires us to put it out there 12 months in advance. So we follow that same schedule. Whatever topic we're talking about on air, then we follow up and support those key topics in all of our social media posts, whether it's photos or video. And you're exactly right. We put it out there. We're heavy on Facebook, knowing that we need to transition more to Instagram. And our goal early this year is to be more on Pinterest, because that's what most of our clients are bringing to us. So we want some relevance on that platform as well.
Okay. And when you say the TV show it's on YouTube, right?
The TV show, well, yes, I believe we have some of those videos on YouTube, but the TV show airs on our local station.
Oh, okay. Because
station.
I've watched your Around the House with Nicole on YouTube. So that is the local television show that just happens to be having clips on YouTube. Is that the point?
That's the point.
Okay. And so how often does that show air on local TV?
It airs once a month. So we go live one morning a month, and then we follow it up with generally on one of our job sites, a pre-filmed video later in the afternoon, just for a lifestyle living segment that airs.
Did you pitch that, Nicole, to your local television station, or did they come to you?
They came to me. So we did a showcase of homes, and they were doing some of the footage just to get the information out to the community. And I started talking about being really the only female builder in the community that was building in that particular showcase. And they thought it was a good opportunity to get me in front of their audience, because, it's mostly women watching the show, and going on every month and doing not necessarily a DIY, but giving 3 tips and then following it up with DIYs on our social media posts.
Okay. And the nitty gritty of that, if they came to you, if someone is thinking that's a brilliant idea, can you give us one or two of the things that you would say, look, if you're going to pitch yourself to do this, mention,
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I recommend designers go to their local TV station, pitch an idea that is very clear, again, outlining 12 months of topics. I do a lot of research on IGTV. I do a lot of research just finding other designers' blogs and information that they're putting out there and what their audience wants to hear. When you present that to the TV station, again, then outline it how you will help support their viewers through your social media posts. It's very simple, clear, cut and dry, and most stations are hungry to have more lifestyle type videos because they know their audience is shifting to watch YouTube. They know they're shifting to watch IGTV, and that's where they're getting their information versus the traditional news channels. So they want to create these lifestyle segments that are more like what's the transition that's happening with viewers.
And when we think about this opportunity, this becomes marketing for us. There's no question. That's why you do it.
Right.
So we don't expect to be paid to do this. Like, see, most people think of TV and think, hey, I'm going to be a TV star, I'm going to make money. This is you're carving out a budget for marketing, coming up with the idea, pitching it. I'm on the right track, right? You're not getting paid for this, right?
You're on the right track. And our morning show, it's a news segment, so we have to present some sort of news in the industry. And then that aligns with what we pay for in the afternoon. And again, that's just us getting our message out there. You're exactly right.
Okay. And so when you think about doing this, maybe it might be different from your arrangement because they came to you. But when we would think about doing this, are we going to make an assumption that we're going to also provide that video content and pay for the videographer? Or are we like, this is the idea, you're going to pay for all the production value, but this is how I'm going to support you with 12 months of content, 12 months of my whole thing feeding in and driving people to your station? What's our expectation with that, Nicole?
The expectation would be that they provide the videographer for that
Okay.
They have that in-house in the stations, and that's how it works for us. I can't speak for all stations across the country, but that's the way I would pitch it.
Right. And if you were going to pitch it, Nicole, and you were going to suggest to somebody, would you suggest that in the pitch, in addition to the 12 months and all the things that they will do and the ideas, and I just want to clarify that for a second. So what we're saying is, here's my idea. January, my idea is this topic, and this is what I think will be on the morning segment where I give you 3 minutes. Is it 3 minutes on camera on something around the morning segment, or is it longer?
Yes,
okay.
It's 3 minutes.
So 3 minutes. And then here's my idea for the afternoon segment, which is the site visit that supports what we talked about in the morning. And then my social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, is going to have this blog post about this topic. It's going to have these, Instagram posts. It's going to have these Facebook things talking and giving more and more information to this one piece of content. Maybe it's, I don't know, kitchen stoves month, right? Like, what are some of the things?
Right. And you can have that, or they should have that expectation that as a designer, you will share their information, but it's okay to have the expectation too, that they will use your content and share it to their viewers. Right. So I find, we may only have a few thousand followers, but they have 50,000 followers. Right. And so negotiating that in the contract is absolutely necessary because you then reach that many more people. Maybe they didn't see the segment on TV, but they're sitting at their desk at work and they see something come up that was shared by the TV station, and it gives you credibility. Something that I would also advise is when presenting the 12 topics over 12 months, think of areas that are relevant for your business, also for your industry, but then bringing in other people in the industry as well. And we do something in our office, and it's called Friend Friday. And we bring in other builders, other designers, other professionals in the community that we want to spotlight their business. But it also, again, we're sharing our message to our audience, and then they turn around and share it to their audience. It shows the community that you're working well with others in the industry. And I know that we're different because we have the architects in-house, we have the design in-house, we're building the homes. But if a designer is looking to partner with a builder, bring them on the show, pitch that, bring them on and show the audience how well you work together. And I think that many of your listeners would be surprised in how that would help bring in a few more clients every year.
Right. And what I love about this is, my brain, when you said that, just went to, if you have one particular builder or whoever, kitchen maker, whoever it is that you really have a great relationship with, the whole 12 months of content could be the two of you partnering on it. Like it
Absolutely.
Right. Otherwise, what you're saying is, if say January was all about kitchens, say you could the segment in the morning could be you giving some tips on on designing a kitchen, the 3 things that most homeowners make designing a kitchen or something, and then the afternoon this location shot doesn't have to be one of your projects. It can be your kitchen cabinet maker's workroom or something like that, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And in fact, tomorrow we are going on site to one of our manufacturers here locally who makes tiny homes. And we will be promoting them as well. So that's something, they're not competing with us,
right?
But it's something that's in demand across the country. So we want to be a part of that too and getting that message out there.
Very interesting. Okay, so I could talk a whole show on that, but I think we have enough there. If somebody loves the idea, they can figure out their way through this pitch. I think it's awesome. Okay. Oh, I know the one question I was going to say. In the pitch, do you suggest or think it makes a difference if in that email they include like a clip of them on video, just so they can see if they've got some camera charisma, correct?
I think that would give them a much greater chance of getting on air.
Right.
But you can send an email, but I would schedule a time to meet with the producers in person so they can capture personality in person. And even if the answer is no in that moment, they will remember that one-on-one meeting more than they will remember an email that came through 2 months ago.
Love it. And from do you suggest that then it starts with a phone call? We don't even bother trying to get through the email. We call, we see if we can make an appointment. I have an idea for a show that I think would be perfect for your audience. Can I have a meeting with the producer?
Exactly. That's exactly what I would do.
All right. Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay. So talk to us about some of the other, and just to round that out, my question was, how do you develop your social media strategy? And your answer is it coincides with this production schedule. So you've already decided ahead of time the 12 topics for your content, and then therefore you break it down and you filter through every other level of your social media supporting that. And that supports the television station, but it also gives you a framework for your social media so you don't have to wake up every Monday and figure it out.
Oh, absolutely. We plan it out well in advance.
It's insane. Okay. All right. I would love to be that organized. I don't know what we're going to post on Saturday. I'm just going to tell you. Everything's a work in progress, right? You do what you can do when you can do it, right?
Yes, that's exactly true.
Exactly. Okay. So that's one of the ways that you develop your business and bring clients and eyeballs to you. What do you have other strategies? Or, that is pretty well developed and that does cover multiple layers there. But is there anything else that comes to mind, Nicole, before I switch topics on you?
Really, I think the only thing, and we break it down to, it's almost cheesy. It's Monday motivation, design trend Tuesday, and wacky Wednesday. And we don't even have to use that title when we share it on social media, but we really want to find something that motivates somebody to either call our studio for design. So we're showing something that is heavily liked or most of our viewers like. But we also share messages that are heartfelt and, again, more personal. And then on Wednesdays, moving forward in 2020, we really want to show something where we don't have it all together. It's, you know, it's a blooper or a complete mess up. In fact, my daughter, who's 13, was doing a video for me as we were walking through one of our new homes that we were getting ready to furnish. And I think she did 26 takes. And she finally said, Mom, I'm done making this video. I can't believe you haven't gotten it right yet. This is absolutely ridiculous. And, you know, and we have just a video of me even just, you know, stretching my lips and not being able to get my words together or my thoughts very clear. And that's something that we'll share on Wednesday, because it's something that viewers, they want to see. Again, they want to know that you're relatable and that you're real and that you don't always have it together, because I feel like as designers and as professionals, we want to portray this extremely professional message because you hire people who are professional, right?
Yes.
But they also want to know that we're real.
Right. It's genius, really, because it is true. We want, you know, it's like, I always feel like being the leader of a company and leading a design project, whatever it is, it's the client wants to have that trust in you. They want to know that you're driving the car, that you are steering the ship, and that it's your thing. But
yes,
they're all, to your point, they also want to know that you're a real live human being, and that they need to know that you are capable of making mistakes. Forget want to know. They need to know it. I think it's a very big responsibility on our part to let them know that there'll be mistakes. But as a professional, I'm going to handle them. So whether it's a blooper where I'm going to handle it and just do it again the 27th time, or, you know, I completely screwed up something in the design, I'm going to handle it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think showing those bloopers where it's just personal kind of mess ups. But then again, yes, we can show, you know what, we created this design and quite frankly, it did not work, and show the process or the steps that we have to take to fix it.
You've done videos like that. You've shared that on social. You're like, this is it. Client doesn't like it. I don't like it. And this is how we're going to fix it.
Yes.
Wow. That's awesome. And it's powerful. It's powerful because it's another message. It's like the message is, I can recognize when something isn't right. I can figure out a solution to it. I'm not too big to admit that, you know, there needs to be a pivot here. And, you know, it gives some security that if you end up with some sort of something that you don't like on your project, you know, I'm going to stay there to the end to make it right. That's powerful, Nicole.
And I like the word that you used, pivot. I think it's not, we didn't hit a wall and it wasn't a fail, but it's just a quick pivot in a different direction. And usually the way the design ends up, it's 10 times better. And you needed to hit that point where you needed to pivot to open your mind up to think of that idea and go beyond our level of creation.
It's so true, because the thing about what I find is we have the opportunity in our one-on-one conversations with our clients often to express this sentiment that things aren't always going to be terrific, but I'm going to be here to figure out the solution with you. But I don't know that we've talked that often on the show about putting it out there in social, like we talk about in your presentations and your initial consultations and so forth, that this is going to happen. But to your point too, is I have on a window treatment level, I can't tell you the number of times. It's not nearly as dramatic as when there's a problem in construction and the whole wall that we were going to put somewhere can't be there because, you know, whatever. But it feels to the consumer that, you know, we took maybe 5, 6, 7 weeks to find the perfect fabric and it's the one. And now there's only 5 yards left and we need 25 and it's discontinued. I mean, and it's crazy. I had that happen a summer ago and thankfully it was a client that I had done one project with already, because it took us, her schedule, my schedule, she was, you know, traveling a lot, but it took us too long to find the perfect fabric. Part of it was her process, that every time I brought her fabrics, then she had to use those fabrics to research other fabrics online. It was, you know, that sort of a thing, right? But thankfully she kept coming back to me for it. I mean, I like the person as a person. So that was very, very helpful. We got along, we saw eye to eye, but she was a researcher. And so each thing that I introduced, it just created another little avenue that she was going to research. So between her travel and the research process, it would always be like 2 weeks before we would see each other again. So the point was that it took too long. You see, when you go back and you see what went wrong, I'm like, you know what? You should have made that, you know, really try to button that down quicker. But when we finally got to the fabric, because it was like, I'm not sure, Goldilocks, too little, too small, too this, too that, blah, 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 blah. We finally get to it. I needed like 68 yards, and it was back ordered. And so we decide, well, we searched for this from like dawn of time. We're going to wait for the back order. But then like 5 weeks later, the back order gets extended again. And this week, thankfully she started, well, and it didn't end up mattering, but she started in June because she wanted it for Christmas. And I was like, I wanted to kiss her, right? But now here we are in September and it's back ordered again. And I'm like, oh, we're getting a little close here. Fabric comes in like the end of October. I'm still able to push it through and get it done. Yeah, the fabric was flawed. And now there's no stock again. Okay, so it was brutal. The thing was that it forced us to pick a different fabric because at that moment it was more important to her to have it for the holiday. And the fabric we picked was 20 times better. And she said to me, she must have said to me 10 times the week it was installed, oh my goodness, thank God that other fabric wasn't available. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And so sometimes, like you said, it forces you to think about the problem in a different way. And in the moment, the client isn't always ready to accept, but I do. I think having been in business almost 40 years, I have a little bit of credibility, and when I can look at them and say, I know this is really painful, but I'll bet you we find a better fabric. And they don't thinking, because I'm not in business 2 years, they're not thinking I'm just saying that. I'm like, I got to tell you, it's happened over and over and over. Trust the process. I don't know why the universe put us through the first 6 weeks of hell, but trust the process.
So trust the process, because a lot of times in construction and in design, again, we hit that wall. We're limited with our experience or just the designs that we've been able to see to that point in our lives. And I think with construction, I got bored with the neutral beige box homes and wanted to move into design for more creation. And again, you have to hit that wall or that experience where you absolutely have to make a decision, and it pushes your brain to expand and learn something new yourself as the designer.
Right. I love it. I think it's awesome. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we all have our war stories, right?
Oh yes.
Okay. So Nicole, when we think about, I think one of the things that I learned from you off air, and I would like to bring into the conversation now, is that you feel it's very important for us as business owners to have multiple revenue streams. Obviously, it's illustrated in the different companies that you have, but not every designer is going to have a build firm, a leasing firm, a design firm, all of these things. So talk to us, and of course, even the e-commerce that you have, talk to us a little bit about strategies and reasons that you have developed multiple revenue streams.
Again, new home construction is like a really bad roller coaster. You're really, really high, but then it drops really low fast. Because the process for planning a new home can be 2 months, it can be up to 2 years. And then think that income is coming in 3 years later. That's a lot of work to put in and waiting for a payday. So no matter how many homes you have, and you hope that they're cycling through at different months, but there may be 2 months where you don't have an income, 3 months, maybe 4 months goes by. But you have a lot of work going on. And so I saw the opportunity. The first company outside of just the building company that I started was the development group, and having that monthly rental income come in, that was a huge help. And then I started the design studio because I saw an opportunity for the number of projects that we had going on to sell the materials back to ourselves. So contacting the manufacturers and bypassing the typical retailers that we used, and making that margin or markup ourselves as opposed to paying it to another company. And that gave us another revenue source where we could make money almost on a weekly basis. But that circles back to the new construction. So on the design side, if we run out of things to do, then we have the opportunity to buy a flip house or start a new construction with some of the design pieces that have come in.
All right. And the thing about it is that not the biggest majority of us are going to be in a position to have the second revenue stream be such a major investment of energy, resources, and time, right?
Right.
So thinking about it, is it possible to consider simply Nicole McGuire Design Studio at this point and think about that business model a little bit and think about the revenue streams in that? Maybe can we talk a little bit about the way you price those projects? Do you do flat fee? Do you do hourly? And if you had just that business, what would you suggest as options there?
So we do not charge hourly. The industry standard in our community is not to charge hourly. And we found that a couple of presentations that we went on, we scared the clients because they didn't know if we would spend 5 hours on the project or 50 hours on the project. So we do a flat rate project management fee, which is 12% of the total cost of the project. And then it gives our project managers and salespeople an opportunity to then make a commission on the products that they're selling to that client for the project. Okay,
let's back that up a minute. So we have, are we talking about when you are dealing with a client that McGuire Homes is also building the home, or is this any client?
This is any client or somebody who comes into the studio and wants to do a kitchen remodel, because again, we have our branded cabinet line that we're selling to them. They come in, they want to do a kitchen remodel. It's going to be heavy demo. We'll have to be moving electrical, plumbing, all of the things that go in line with that kitchen remodel. So that is where we charge the 12% management fee. Again, not hourly, because no matter the size of the job, it is hard to charge to calculate or project how many hours you will have on that site.
Okay.
Sometimes we come out heavy and it was a very quick, easy demo. And then there are other times where we don't know what we're going to get into behind the walls and it's a lot of extra time.
Okay. And you don't adjust it. You don't open up walls and say, hey, lady, didn't know your electric was from 1920. Like, this is going to take longer. You just, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it's right on the money.
Right, but we do always factor in a 5% line item that we can access if we do run into a problem. So the client knows that up front in any remodel. We are very clear that we can't see behind these walls. We don't know what's going to happen. This is the money that we will pull from first before we come to you with any major issues.
Okay, all right. So client walks in the door. They love you. They like you. They're hiring you. They're going to do a kitchen remodel. You go about, do you do a mood board and then you go about, estimating budget on a mood board, or do you go completely, like, at what point and what mechanism do you use to arrive at the budget, therefore also gives them that 12%? Like, how much detail do you get to, or are you just so skilled and so experienced at this point, Nicole, that you can look at somebody and say, this is a, X amount of square foot kitchen, you need everything gutted, this is generally, with the Pinterest pictures you showed me, going to be a $150,000 kitchen. To what level do you get that finite?
I always throw out a number in the first meeting, because if it is going to be a $150,000 remodel and they have in their mind that it's going to be 50, I need to cut ties in that moment and not spend another week or not even another minute on that project. They maybe need to find a different contractor or come back to us when they have saved, the additional, or come to grips with reality and how much it's going to cost. We're interviewing our clients in those meetings as much as they're interviewing us, because there are clients who can take a significant chunk of our time, and we know in that initial meeting if we need to walk away or not. But to answer your question, going through the process, then we always present our clients with 3 mood boards. So 3 different ideas. We capture the general feel from all of the Pinterest photos that they're showing us. And then we want to always present something too that they haven't thought through. Again, it goes back to what I was saying, even as designers, we hit that block. And a lot of times they will go for that third design because they were staying in a safe zone or a neutral zone for their design. And we help take them out of that space and give them a truly remarkable kitchen.
Love that idea. I love that idea because it really speaks to, as a consumer, we don't know what we don't know. And by the way, to what I always say, if I'm hiring a professional, I want that professional advice. I want that, put your opinion out there, make a stake, make a claim, because, I can take a Pinterest picture to Home Depot. I mean, let's be serious, right?
Easily.
This is why you hire a designer. You want that out of the box thinking. So 2 of the mood boards to some extent represent all of the pictures they've shown you. And the third one is that, and here's this idea, just floating it out there.
And keeping that third idea board or mood board in budget and in line cost-wise with the other 2. So they don't think that their design preference is out of reach for them. So it may simply be they think that they want all white cabinets, but their favorite color is navy blue. They would never think to paint an island or their cabinets navy blue. Until we present it to them or show them that we have already done that. And you would be surprised how many clients will jump on board and take that risk just because we presented it and it's in their budget.
And so much more ultimately interesting in design, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So this is contract is signed when you're presenting a mood boards. It's not like, hey, do you want a mood board? So contract is signed, but is budget established? Like, where are we at with this?
Budget is not established yet. We show them those mood boards so we can get on track to get the numbers correct. However, we do not release those mood boards to the client. Okay. So that is not something that we send electronically, and it's not something that they leave our design studio with. That's simply a guide so we can estimate accurately. Now, our message is on time, on budget, and on trend. And we have to have as much information up front as possible to stay on budget. And that's one thing that our designers we just had a year-end meeting at the end of last year and calculated they stayed on budget within 2% of their jobs because they were so thorough upfront with their clients and making sure that they went through absolutely every option before that contract. Again, each one of those meetings, though, talking about the finance side of it, because we don't want to get into a position where we're $100,000 off or even $25,000 off. And every time the client says, oh, hey, I would like to add this, we do throw out a number. You're looking at about a $5,000 upgrade, but I will get the numbers, or I will get that solidified for you. We do keep track of all of our jobs on an app. So when our clients sign a contract with us, we create a profile on the app. They get notices on their phone. It gives an opportunity for the design studio, the project manager, any site managers that are on site, and the customer to send pictures back and forth, but it also keeps track of the budget in real time. So if there is a change order, we require them to sign that electronically on site, and then it automatically calculates their new total. So if they have a $100,000 kitchen remodel and they have $5,000 in upgrades, that is captured on the job site or in that meeting with the client in real time.
Wow, that's amazing. So that sounds like a project management tool similar to my Doma Studio. Which one are you using?
We use Builder Trend because that's the platform we started on with building homes, right. And it has easily transitioned over for us for remodels.
Right. Okay. And it's probably, it's built for building. Like, let's be serious. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what I'm not clear on, and, this is where my disconnect not doing design as a business might be, is all of this time. You said that your designer stayed on budget within a 2% margin of not being on budget for your entire year. That's incredible. So, but you also said that it's because they're spending lots of time beforehand gathering information, asking questions, providing pictures, going through the thing. How are you paid and compensated for that research time? Because you're not in contract yet, you said. How does that work?
We're not in contract yet, and unfortunately, sometimes clients will walk away, and we lost those hours. But that's why we interview them from the beginning as well. Are they a serious client? If we feel with 80% certainty that they are going to move forward with this project, we give them our time. We give them our expertise. Again, not letting them leave with any of it, but we are spending that time with them and nurturing the relationship.
That's interesting. How many hours would you say that you're investing in that pre-contract phase, whether it's, 3 people, 4 hours each person, one person, 6 hours? What do you, idea?
I would say between 6 and 10 hours, but we do cap all of our client meetings prior to contract to 50 minutes, knowing that it's probably going to go over 10 minutes and we hit that hour mark, but we let them know up front in all of our communication. And I think that's the advice I have for new designers or anybody in the industry. Don't be afraid to have those communication conversations with the client up front, setting expectations. Number one, the best way to get a hold of you, the appropriate times to get a hold of you. And then I always explain too the difference between important and urgent, because they aren't the same thing. And clients seem to think that because they're thinking of it right in that second and, oh my gosh, I need to change this, that it's all of a sudden urgent for us to know about it. And it's not. So we set that communication up front in the very first meeting. It's okay to text me during these hours. You should expect a response from me within an hour. But if you call me, it may be that evening when I return your call, and it may be 24 hours later. So just setting up front and reminding the customer, again, that just this as simple as the definition of important and urgent.
I love it. I love that. I absolutely love that. I think I can hear me saying that almost every day now. Is this important or urgent? Is this important or urgent?
Well, and training them from the very beginning.
Right. I love it. It's so accurate too. So here's the thing. I would say, I don't know that I've had anybody on the show tell us point blank that I have an expectation of possibly investing 6 to 10 hours in a client before getting a check from them. And I think it's interesting. I also think that my feeling on it is, and I have to say this because I have my hashtag baby designers rising and seasoned. Okay. I think that I think there is a skill to doing this. I don't think your company is ever at the 10th hour. I would say the percentages of times that you are at the 10th hour with a client that doesn't become a client are probably so low. Am I correct, Nicole?
Yes, you're correct.
Right. Like you are in charge, in control, managing it. And you are, in my language, I would be like, you are taking the temperature after every meeting. Is this still on track? Are they realistic? Are we syncing? Is this happening? Okay, let's move to the next, meeting with them or the next phase of preparing information for them. Because what we have to worry about, Nicole, is a lesser experienced designer hearing, oh, Nicole spends 6 to 10 hours with a client before she gets money, and having them basically design the space in 10 hours and then the client going, okay, thanks, bye. So you're very clear on the meetings are 50 minutes. You're very clear on you're not leaving with any of these materials. You're not. They're mine. You didn't buy them yet.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And you know this, and even new designers know that one of the biggest challenges that we face is managing client expectations.
Right.
So anything that we can do to help manage that every time we meet with them, the easier our lives and work will be.
Right. And the other thing is have you ever had, you probably have not, because, there is a difference the way an experienced business person handles a conversation. But let's just see, have you ever had a situation where the client, not even out of malice, but just out of being, not thinking, is like, oh, let me just take a picture of this mood board. I want to show it to my sister. Like, have you ever had that and you've had to just say, I'm sorry, sweetie, no, ixnay on the camera?
I think immediately I would pop off, oh, if you would like these design boards, they're $125 each.
Okay. I love that. Right.
And that gives them an opportunity to decide, okay, this is something I really want access to immediately, or it's something I'll leave on the table and come back.
Okay. And I have to say, my first thought was I would have charged a lot more for that. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, that's a good idea. But when you said 125, I was thinking she was going to say like 900. You know what I'm saying?
But again, it's each industry or each geographical area has different expectations and what the industry standard is.
Okay.
So if we were to say $900 where we're located, they would walk out the door immediately.
But see, I hear you, and I'm just going to debate it with you a little bit because it's like a sales thing here now, right? Like, I just feel like 125, first of all, we know it costs you more than 125 to put it together. Number two, if they do take the picture or take the board with them, they really can start to like, oh, I'll buy this here and I'll buy that there. And again, Nicole, I don't think your clients are doing that, but we're talking to like 10,000 designers now, right? So we got to get clear on all the different levels of expertise, okay? And so I feel like in other words, when my brain said 900, I didn't expect that somebody would ever pay 900, but I expected by saying that I'm displaying to you, I'm expressing to you without saying it, stop it. You didn't pay for this yet, and it looks easy, but my team spent 8 hours creating this. Like,
LuAnn, that's a very, very good point. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you in that, but that is a good point in setting that expectation that our time is valuable.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree.
Okay. Well, and here's the thing: you probably haven't had it happen to you, so you hadn't had to think through it yet.
Right. And I'm gonna address this in two ways. I can go back to reminding the audience that we're creating that cognitive bias from the very beginning. So the clients that are making it to that 10th hour, they already feel invested in us as much as we are invested in them. But you know what? I might listen to your podcast more and hear somebody talk about charging an hourly rate, and the light bulb might go on and say, ding, ding, I absolutely need to start doing this because.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. See, the thing is, I really want to say this. Look, I can hear your business expertise and acumen. You know what I'm saying? And I think that you can give more when you are confident that you are managing the process. You see, there's less risk. You have much less risk that you're going to get to that 8th, 9th, 10th hour and somebody's not going to sign than a lesser experienced, not even designer, lesser experienced business person. Because I know for a fact, I've interviewed designers that they're in their first or second year in business, but they come from 10 or 15 years from another industry. And that still can be managed. Do you know what I'm saying? It's that my friend Sandra, standing in your space. When you're standing in your space, you're managing that. So, okay, so I love that. Okay, I like that. And also to just go back to it, the most critical part of this is in that first meeting, being able to throw a number. Okay?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And knowing that it's a ballpark, nothing is set in stone because things can change, but throwing it out there.
We just want to see if we're picking them up off the floor or not. That's all we want to know at that point, and to not be afraid to throw the number. In window treatments, we do eyeball estimating. You know, I'm standing there talking to a stranger. We're in our living room, blah, blah, blah. We get to the point where, you know, have you thought about budget? Well, I have no idea what window treatments cost. Well, for an example, you know, wood blind is $300, a silhouette is $900, and a Roman shade's $15. And if she looks at you and says, oh my goodness, my mom bought blinds for $30 a window, it's like, see ya, bye, I'm out of here.
Bye. Right. and knowing too, who's making the decision in the family. Right. So who you're presenting to may not be the one making the final financial decision. So gathering as much information up front as possible and knowing, okay, is the person I'm meeting with right now the one going to make the final decision about whether we move forward or not when they're given that final estimate?
Love it. I love it. There's a dozen more things I can pick out of this, but I do really know that you shared with us some awesome points, like this whole idea about how to pitch the local television station. I mean, that same pitch could be effective for a local regional magazine, right? I'll do an article for you every month on the broad topic. I'm going to support it with my social. You support it in your social. Same thing. It doesn't have to be a television station. There's a lot of people that want to be on camera, but the idea works. And of course, we have Amy Fleury, Recipe for Press, who could be very helpful with creating that pitch and also the ideas for the 12-month going out, right? And so that, I love that whole conversation in there, Nicole, and also this whole, you know, how you set the tone and set the expectations and run the project from that very beginning. So I think I might have to have you back because it's you know, you have a lot more to teach us. I'm 100% sure of that.
I would love to come back, LuAnn. Would love to be back on.
Okay. Well, Nicole, I mean, hats off to you, sweetie. I mean, my goodness, #SmartLady doesn't begin to describe it. I just have loved learning about you and your business. And I know I only scratched the surface with the 4 businesses. I mean, we didn't even get into e-commerce and the trials and the tribulations, and that's such a hot topic now. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to invite you back. And thank you for coming today and talking with us.
Thank you for having me, LuAnn. I really enjoyed my time with you.
I just love me a hashtag smart lady. I really do. And Nicole is certainly that. Don't you agree? All right. Are you ready to hear her about you, her bio now? All right. I'm ready to tell it to you. Here it is. Passion and drive define Nicole. These traits have been foundational to her success in this highly intense and competitive building market. She is a visionary leader and disruptor of the status quo. Nicole is a gifted conceptual thinker with strengths in strategic planning, team leadership, mentoring, and community outreach. She has actively worked to create space for women to be empowered and given leadership opportunities within the design and construction industry. Nicole was raised in a home building family, but she's never been one to rest on her legacy. After graduating from the University of Illinois, Nicole partnered with her father, the late Jeff McGuire, to begin a new venture, building spec homes and eventually creating unmatched custom homes and personally curated design spaces, all available within the McGuire Homes collection. Nicole has continued to dive deeper into best practices for the industry, even studying sustainable business strategy at Harvard University, expanding her business through social and environmental sustainability standards. I mean, am I right? Like I'm just telling you, right? So I encourage you to go to Nicole's website, because what I left off at the bottom is all of the community programs that she's involved in and all of the initiatives. I said at the top of the show, when I read about her, I was like, OMG, I will never say I'm busy again. So there are just some people, right? So, and isn't every word of her bio expressed in every word of her conversation? After meeting her, you know she is a visionary leader. She is a gifted conceptual thinker and strategist, right? So what I want to know is, what are you? What do you tell me on your website? What are your superpowers? What are your interests? Okay, other than those awesome sand dunes that I'm always mocking, right? And when your clients meet you, would they go back to your About You page and say, yes, this is the person that I met today? So I want you to think about putting substance in your About You page, because this is one of the main ways that you will attract the client that you want to work with to the next step, which is either the email or the discovery call, that first call into your studio. From there, you got to do the work. You got to make the connection. But your website can do so much of that for you if you really do put it together in a way that you cannot substitute your name for anybody else's name, and the facts that you have there would still be true. Okay, so I don't care if you've been to Harvard, all right? And I don't care if you have 15 companies. I just care that you tell me something about you, so that if I am inclined to call you, I kind of feel like I already might know the person I'm going to be getting to on the other end. Okay? All right, now, before I recap the top lessons of today's show, let's give some love to Kravet. Kravet is here for you during these challenging times. They've been around for 102 years, and you can trust them to securely process your orders and keep your deposits saved. You might have noticed in today's show, especially if you're listening in real time, May 2020, that Nicole and I didn't even mention COVID-19 or the quarantine. This is because we recorded this show back in the first week of January. So if you are listening in May 2020, please know that Kravet is here for you during this. In looking forward to when the stay at home is lifted, they've already rolled out an exceptional plan for showroom cleanliness and working and observing social distancing, okay? So not only can you trust them with your deposits, you can trust them to do the right thing in regard to this as well. While we are still in stay in place, you can take advantage of Kravet's extensive digital tools, and you can set up a virtual appointment with your local sales rep. All right, go to kravet.com, and don't forget to use your code at checkout for 10% off any one purchase of Kravet wallpaper, fabric, or trim. Go to Kravet.com and use AWDB10 at checkout, right? You could save 10% now. That would be nice. All right. Here's my top takeaways. Number one, I love the way Nicole put together the pitch for the local TV, or as occurred to me during our conversation, the exact pitch could be used for a regional publication. I love all the strategy here that she gave us, the cross-promotion with both the media outlet as well as any collaborators that you can partner with, okay? And I love that full 12-month calendar. I mean, totally jealous of that full 12-month calendar, but I do love it, okay? So love this whole strategy and this whole pitch, all right? And I love her advice to stay focused on your core business. This is essential. She's 100% right about this. Don't get down rabbit holes unless you're looking for rabbits, right? Okay? Stay focused on what earns you your living, and to Nicole's point, make sure that that is the message that you are putting out there, all right? And lastly, I want to ask if you notice what I did. Often when Nicole was answering a question, her answer, it was more than a few times included something to the effect of, yes, that's a good revenue stream for us, or we learned that was good for revenue, or that didn't lead to revenue, right? I'm not exactly quoting her exact words here, but when I looked at my notes, I had the word revenue written down more than 4 or 5 times in a quote by her, all right? So here's the thing. She is clearly a businesswoman who happens to be running a design firm, exactly as my friend Kim Merlitty describes it, all right? Kim says, you are a business person that happens to be running an interior design firm. When you make that switch in your head, then you're going to make moves in your business. That's when that's going to happen, okay? So Kim is a financial consultant for interior designers, and she just reminds us of this point all the time. She is one of the co-authors in my next book coming out in November 2020. And I have to say, I really think that Nicole epitomizes this sentiment to a T, all right? So, and I hope that this describes you as well, or at the very least, I hope Nicole has inspired you to move towards this mind shift, all right? Now, later this week, I have another What Would Lou Do? These are the episodes where I answer your listener questions. Now, I know a lot of you send me questions by DM on Facebook and Instagram. I'd sure love it if you'd switch it over to an email, all right? And if you can, go to LuAnnNigara.com/WWLD. What would Lou do? And just type your question in there, and then I'll answer yours on the air, all right? And also this week, we have a WTF episode with Vita on Friday, and also on Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, Vita and Kim, who works for me, the interior designer, window treatment professional that works for WindowWorks, they are going live on the WindowWorks Facebook page every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. They're talking, this is going to be called WTF Live. They're talking tips for design of custom window treatments, little tricky things that can, trip you up on a job, right? And so they're going to be talking about rods and drapes and valances and all the kinds of little nudgy things. And it's going to be a little bit easier because they're going to have visuals, all right? So please follow us over at WindowWorks, both on Facebook and in Instagram. And be sure to join in with WTF Live every Friday with Kim and Vita on Facebook, all right? Thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. I want to give Lisa Furtado a huge shout out for her recent review on iTunes. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. It's a very long one, so I'm not going to read it on air, but I just want you to know that I do read every single review, and I appreciate them so much. So, all righty, guys. I hope that you are doing, like I keep saying it, but I really mean it, doing whatever serves you as a human being and as a business owner during this craziness. So if you need to dig in and work on your systems and processes, and that would make you feel great, do it. If you need to take a breath, take a breath, okay? But own whatever decision you do, all right? Because this is kind of a crazy time, so don't let your business slip through your fingertips, all right? Pay attention, eyes on the ball, all right? You can do this, all right? Decide to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnnNigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.